Come and dine. Hear him calling, come and dine. Taste and see, the Lord is good. Taste and see that he is fine. I gotta stop right there, y'all, because I don't remember the rest. But good morning, everybody. It is September the 12th, 2022, and today the topic is Testify. Testify, y'all. Happy Monday, y'all. Happy Monday. I hope that you all had a great weekend. Mine was fabulous, as they say, man. I had a great weekend. Shout out to my homegirl, Alicia, for showing your girl a great time on Saturday. I told y'all that we had the plans to go out. And so those of you all that follow me on social medias, y'all may have already seen a little sneak peek at that evening that I had, and it was much needed, greatly appreciated, awesome experience. We went to like 3 different places and just kind of had a great time at each one. I might get into some details about that if I remember in the after show, because I don't want to like take too much time talking about that because it's, I guess, off topic in a way, but not really. I mean, well, we'll see what the Lord do. But let me keep telling y'all about the weekend overall, and then we'll see how much detail that y'all will get on the podcast about it. But anyway, long story short, Saturday was great. Spent like half of the day kind of chilling, and then the rest of it was hanging out with my homegirl Alicia. And like I said, we went to 3 different locations. I didn't intend to shout out the names of them just because I didn't put up the links and stuff, but y'all can look these places up. They were all in Stone Mountain. Stone Mountain Village is like a nice little quirky downtown area in Stone Mountain, Georgia. And so there's quite a few places there, obviously, because it's like the square town area. But we went, like I said, we went to 3 places. So the first place we started out going to is called the Vibrary, which is like a wine bar slash book bar. We didn't even really get a chance to look at the books because we were just, as soon as we got there, we just sat down on one of the lovely couches and just started chit-chatting, girl chat and whatnot. There's some other details, but again, I'll get into like details of like specifics of how the night went. But we went there first. After that, we went to Stoned Pizza, which was very good. I got a interesting testimony about Stoned Pizza as well, something that happened while we were there. But we enjoy, again, just continuing to talk and had some good pizza, and it was nice. Then after that, we went to the this thing. Every time I get ready to talk about it, the name goes away from me. I think it's like Stone Mountain Public House is the name of the place. It's like a cigar and piano bar. And it was nice as well. Just every place was like a nice vibe. My speed of going out, when people think about going out, sometimes they think about clubs and they think about this like party atmosphere where it's just loud and all this different type of stuff. But not me. Like, I like nice vibes. I like nice, chill, jazzy, different, like quirky, like that's me. And so the whole evening was great. Again, I'll get into more details about specifics of stuff. So sorry, podcast people, I guess y'all have to tune in live to hear that more details about the night out. But it was awesome. Basically, I say all that to say that all 3 places was awesome. The company was awesome in regards to my homegirl Alicia. And that was one for the record books and memory books. Yesterday, it was Sunday, so little man and I went to church, and again, it was a awesome experience, praising and worshiping God together with others, having some meaningful conversations, which I don't think I told y'all about this dream that I had the other day, but maybe I'll tell people in the after show, that kind of was getting some confirmation about like some of the conversations that I was having. And then, just receiving a word from the Lord, from the pastor yesterday. And so, I mean, overall, the weekend was great with the activities, right, that was done. I mean, I came back home yesterday evening and, got a little rest. And Yeah. So if I transition into this topic of testify, right? I think it's important to share this part of something that happened last night, technically. Um, so again, if I get some midday rest, usually I'm going to be up later in the evening. So I want to say maybe I was up to maybe like it had to have been after 12 or something last night, which is why it's interesting because I ended up waking up this morning, I think at like 5:03. I feel like the Lord must have woke me up because I don't remember hearing an alarm. And I didn't realize it was that late until I actually looked at, my phone and then, and saw that it was 5:03. And I was like, okay, Lord, well, thank you for waking me up because obviously, and then I am recording. I'm recording before 6 because at first I was like, oh Lord. And I almost didn't do my routine of listen to the prayer meditation, pray, X, Y, and Z. I almost skipped that part, but I'm glad I didn't because the prayer meditation this morning was something that kind of, again, I guess it edified me, prepared me for this moment talking to y'all and prepared me for what to pray for and all those different things and revealing different things regarding perhaps today's topic. So again, if I get into this conversation of why am I talking about testify, I feel like, as I think about this word testify and as I think about like just everything, I'm noticing that there are some patterns and some specific topics that I'm always talking about here on the juice in particular, I think I would say. But probably in all the conversations that I've been having across the board. And so when it comes to GSL. And so I feel like this conversation about sharing your testimony is an ongoing theme and something that I'm always reiterating on here. Maybe because I'm doing it, I'm often sharing my testimonies and things that I'm going through and have been through and what God has done and everything like that. But also, again, I just acknowledge that there is so much power in that. And so I guess with that being said, well, okay, so basically those that follow me, again, like I said, if you follow me on social media, you may have noticed that last night I shared an interview that I had done. And if you guys remember, I think y'all over the past few weeks that there was this gentleman or whatever. I'm like, I'm on the show, but we keep having to reschedule some technical difficulties. And it seemed like every time we try to talk, the equipment wasn't working, like either on my end or his end. And it was ongoing where it just was seeming as if we were going to be blocked and whatever, but we continue to keep trying to reschedule and keep trying to make sure, we could talk, could have this interview and everything like that. Me being on their platform. Because him and his wife was talking to me in the episode. And so I guess so. Okay, so I shared the episode, right? Because I saw that I had the link. I was reminded last night that I had the link. And so I ended up sharing to y'all the episode. So basically, the gentleman I'm talking about his name is Joshua, and he goes by the coin, the world's mayor. And their, I guess, show is called Live Manna Network, and you guys can check them out at livemanna.org. But yeah, if you guys again follow me, Actress Miracle Sims, especially on Facebook, then you may have noticed that I posted that interview up. And so, every now and then, majority of the time, I tend to, just check out whatever show I'm on, right? I'll listen to it, watch it, X, Y, and Z. So this was no different from something that I would usually do. I would, I checked out the episode. I shared it to everybody, like, hey, y'all, check this out. Your girl was on a talk show, and I shared it on all my platforms and stuff like that. And then I happened to start watching it. And I feel like our conversation was good and everything like that. I mean, I feel like there was a lot of gems that him and his wife was dropping, and there's a lot of things that, I feel like the Lord was saying through me and my testimony of what he has done for me in my life and whatnot and everything like that. And, answering their questions and things like that. And it was an interesting conversation itself. But as I kept watching, I realized that there was this moment that Mr. Joshua recorded after our conversation. And he shared this powerful testimony about dealing with DID, which I should have wrote down the entire phrase. So my apologies. I guess that's something you have to look up if you're not familiar with it. And I don't want to misquote of what it means. I think it's like disorder of some sort. My apologies for that. Again, I wasn't mentally prepared to get into DID, but he basically his powerful testimony was centered around that, as well as some confessions of where he is, right, where he currently is in life. And so as I listened to his testimony, I mean, I felt a few things, and so let me acknowledge this. I know the other day I was telling y'all about how convictions and whatnot, right? So, I think I try to be pretty open and honest and transparent and whatnot with GSL and everything like that. And again, I have noticed that the guests are the same way. They come and they be very open and transparent. Well, let me be transparent, right? And in this moment, so long story short, like when I first started to listen to his testimony, I was a little nervous. I was a little nervous because I didn't know where he was going to go with the things he had to say, because I know we had an interesting text before our interview. He texted me randomly and asked me a question that I wasn't sure, like it didn't, how can I say? If for example, if you receive that type of question from someone, you would kind of question their, I say just their salvation, but like question like where are they coming from with the question. And unfortunately, I think like they say, familiar spirit, like it came with the spirit of like some of the questions that I've received on here. I think y'all can remember, if anybody that's listened to me consistently, y'all may have noticed that there are times where people have come on here while I'm live and start asking all these questions, like trying to make me question God, trying to make me doubt God or something like that. And so some of the questions in his text message that the evening prior to all this, right, prior to all us recording and everything like that, was kind of along those lines. And I was kind of confused a little bit because I'm like, but again, listening to his testimony yesterday makes like a lot of this makes more sense now. Some of his comments or responses make a little bit more sense, because I know there was moments where he's like, well, I know we don't agree on everything, and I'm like, well, a lot of the conversation we were having, we were actually agreeing. So I was like, what are you talking about? And things like that. Or let me see. I'm trying to figure out if I should be specific about like details about like those conversations. Well, again, if I try to stay focused on the task at hand, right? And so I'm listening to his testimony, and I was feeling kind of nervous because I didn't know where he was going to go and what he was going to say. Because, for example, if you're going to say something like, it's one thing to say, hey, I'm struggling with the Bible, right? I'm struggling with what I feel like God is calling me to do. I'm struggling, right? That's one thing. But and to say that not why, and while I'm struggling, I'm going to trust the Lord. Like, that's a totally different situation than to be like, hey, I don't agree with the Bible, and so I don't think you should agree with it too. And so some of his commentary gives that vibe that he doesn't fully agree with the Bible. And which again, everybody, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, you know what I'm saying? So on one hand, as I listened to his testimony again, I didn't know where it was going to go, and I didn't know what he was going to say fully. And so that was kind of concerning. But as I listened, right, and as I just was, again, listening to him, no judgment, everything like that. He didn't say anything that was like, hey, derogatory against the Bible or God or anything like that. And again, I do see the power of him sharing, right, and being honest about where he is and everything like that. And so ultimately that led me to send him a message yesterday, hopefully that he would see it as support and everything like that. yeah, I could have taken moments to be like, and this is what I think you should do, but I didn't feel led to do that. I just more so felt led to acknowledge that, hey, I heard you. I'm praying for you, and God used this moment for me as well. Because as he confessed, right, and as I respond to his confession, I too have a confession, right? So long story short, I think y'all know that I've shared on here numerous times that there's although yes, I am married and I feel like I am walking in the blessings, right? I am walking in, all the fruit of the labor. Again, the cultivation period and everything I went through seems to be well worth it, and I see that it was not in vain. I'm seeing that through confirmations of people that have, I guess, been blessed by my testimony, right? Been blessed by, hearing and seeing what God has done in my life. And again, how would they know that unless I testify, right? How would they know that unless I, you know, be open and honest about that, right? And so, yeah, like I said, to God be the glory, to God be the glory for everything. But even with that, right, there's things I still struggle with, right? There's things that I still, I have to exercise some patience and some, things like that when it comes to marriage, yeah, because we're humans out here, I'm a human. My husband is a human. He's dealing with things. I'm dealing with things. I can't expect him to be at my beck and call all day, every day, and do what I want him to do and everything like that. To be honest, again, I think I was honest about that on here as well. But let me just reiterate: like there was a time that I was with someone that did do everything that I would have wanted them to do, but I realized that I didn't want a man like that. I didn't want a man that I could control. Like some people like that, but me, that wasn't something that I needed, right? I wanted a man that I could, trust to lead and everything like that. And even though I ain't gonna lie, my husband's a little younger than me, but it's all about like the maturity in the mind and whatnot. Like he is somebody that I can come to and ask for advice, like financial advice, maybe even spiritual advice sometimes, whatever the case is. And so, yeah, and all of those things are important, basically. Well, I'm sharing that to say that, but even with everything being as great as it is, again, there are moments where I'm, tempted, struggling, and everything like that. So the interesting thing was last night was a moment where I could have taken advantage of being tempted. I was tempted with some thoughts, and I could have been engaging in those thoughts, but somehow instead of engaging in those thoughts, which I said to God be the glory, because it ain't fully me. Because again, like in those moments, I'm just human, but somehow instead of engaging in those thoughts and taking things to another level, and being distracted, right? I ended up doing all the things I just told y'all about. I ended up sharing about the show, listening to the whole show, hearing this gentleman's powerful testimony, and then ultimately responding to his testimony. And then ultimately, here it is, me sharing it all here now with you all. And so why are you telling me this, Miracle? Like, why are you telling me this? Well, the thing is, again, as we testify, right? Again, like I said, there's just so much power in that. Because, for example, if Mr. Joshua, right? If Mr. Joshua didn't testify that, hey, I'm struggling right now. Like, hey, I'm not a perfect man. Like, hey, I struggle with DID and same sexual attraction and all those things. If he didn't confess those things, right, then again, I don't know if this would be the topic today, as well as I don't know if I would have then realized that like what God had done that evening, right? Because again, I could have been distracted. I could have been doing anything else, and again, I think I've shared repeatedly on here or just in general about like, masturbating and all the different things that I could have been doing instead of listening to his testimony last night, right? And obviously I was tempted to do those things, I'll be honest. But I didn't, and I can't remember exactly all the transition of how I ended up watching the video and stuff, but I'll be honest and say that I can recall being distracted before I watched this video. Then when I didn't engage in it, and when I didn't, when I maintain whatever self-control in that moment, right? And then ultimately I end up listening to his video, and ultimately I end up hopefully encouraging and sending some encouragement to him, which ultimately, again, is something that I'm sharing now, and to hopefully encourage and inspire you. And so I hope that sharing those things help you guys see like the importance of our testimonies, the importance of testifying, not only of the good, right? Not only of like, yes, the Lord has done it for me. I have my dreams, like not only just that, but the failures, the ups, the downs, the struggles, because that's what it really is. That's what walking with Christ really is. It's not this thing where it's just like, I've come to Christ and all is well. Like, yeah, all may be well, right? And all, and again, God will give you the peace, right? In spite of the trials, but he also tells us that there's going to be trials. And I think it's important for us as believers to be honest about that. There are going to be trials, y'all. Like, I've come to Christ. I've been living for these years. I think when I was doing some type of form the other day, and it was asking me how long have I been following Christ and stuff. And even though I could say, yeah, my whole life, I knew of Christ, right? My mom raised me and everything like that, to be aware of Christ. But what would I say my actual journey is? I would say, well, maybe it's a good 11 years at this point of being intentional about following Christ, right? And everything like that. But even though, again, like Mr. Joshua was saying in his testimony, like, even though, there are areas where I feel strong, right? There are areas where, yeah, I'm out here sharing my testimony and talking about the cultivation period and giving daily inspiration and all those things. But, has temptation ended? No. Do I still struggle in some areas? Yes, right. Do I need to exercise a patience and grace and mercy and understanding for other people and my husband, and even, again, maybe Mr. Joshua and everything like that? Yes, and myself too, right? And so I say all that to say, testify, y'all. Testify. Tell what the Lord has done for you. There's power in that. And I see, again, like I said, I see, why the enemy, quote unquote, tried to isolate us and be ashamed, like make us feel ashamed of the things that we struggle with. But no, don't be ashamed. Even if we are followers of Christ, right? Even if we are believers, I think there was so much power in what he did, right? When he said, regardless of all of that, what I'm going to do is be honest that this is what I'm struggling with. Because that's the thing. It's like, if you're not honest, right, and you put on this persona like you're perfect and everything like that, then that's why people believe, that we, right, as believers, because I'm assuming that most of the people that listen to me here are probably believers. So that while we are believers, or as believers, are hypocrites, right? Like, that's why, I know he brought up the fact that, like, there's all these pastors and whatnot that are, stepping out for positions and are scared, or whatever the case is, because they are failing and because they are human and because they are falling and everything like that, and again, we said this in a conversation that me and him had, and him and his wife was having. And again, like, there's some things that, wait, testify, y'all. Testify. Do not be afraid of your testimony. Do not be ashamed of your testimony. Because guess what? There is somebody else that's out there that's going through either something similar or something worse than what you've been through. And they need to hear and know that, hey, while I'm struggling, while I'm in the midst of this, while I am in this low place, but what I'm going to do different in my life, right, is trust the Lord, walk by faith, and allow him to lead, guide, and change me and you can do it too. And I think that's the power of the testimony. But if you need some Bible to confirm what I'm saying here, and not just my testimony, right? Then let's check out these verses that came or stood out to me this morning. The first one I feel like sharing is Psalm 66:16. It says, "Come and hear, all who fear God, and I will tell what He has done for my soul." Yeah, y'all, let's get that spirit in us, y'all. If whether you're struggling or not, if you're not struggling, then hey, share that testimony. Hey, God did it, y'all. I'm not struggling. But if you are struggling, share that testimony and be like, hey, y'all, I'm struggling and I need some assistance, whatever if you want to pray for me, X, Y, and Z while I'm in the struggle. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow God to use me, right? I'm going to allow God to use me by being honest and everything like that. And see, that's again the importance of the fellowship and community and getting in the small group and all those different things. Because again, if you hold on to that stuff alone, then not say there's no power in that, but it has an opposite effect, in my little humble opinion, y'all. In my little humble opinion. But anywho, 2 Timothy 1:8, it says, "Therefore, do not be ashamed of the testimony about our Lord, nor of me, his prisoner, but share in the suffering for the gospel by the power of God." So again, just like I said, sharing Mr. Joshua's testimony about the, his all the things he's going through with sexual things and ideas and DID and all those different things, and me sharing my things about masturbation and being, impatient and extra horny and all these different things. Like, again, it say don't be ashamed of that, y'all. Don't be ashamed of that. There's power in sharing. There's power in being honest and transparent and we can come together and again, like, see, I can pray for him now specifically about that because he was honest. And maybe y'all can pray for me about my struggles and stuff because I'm honest. And it just goes on and on and on, where the community can grow, the community can build and be there for one another and pray for one another and lift each other up as we struggle. And so then you know that, hey, I don't have to struggle alone. So don't be ashamed, y'all. Again, see, I didn't make that up. It says that. Don't be ashamed. Mark 5:19 says, "And he did not permit him, but said to him, go home to your friends and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he had mercy on you." I didn't go deeper. I felt led to go deeper, but I'm gonna be honest, I didn't go deeper and read the verses centered around that. But if I'm not mistaken, this is probably a gentleman that wanted to follow Christ. Like, God did something for him and he wanted to say, okay, let me follow you, Lord. And Jesus saw it was more important for him to not follow him, but to go and tell his friends, right? Go and tell of what God had did for him. And you notice that a lot of times when the people in the Bible, when it did that, people in their city was changed, in their community and all that different type of stuff. And so again, don't be ashamed, y'all, of the testimony. Don't be ashamed of the struggle. Don't be ashamed to admit that, you know what, I'm struggling right now, y'all. But God is still faithful even in the midst of my struggle, and I'm going to trust him. That's powerful. Right? Like, I don't know why anybody else feel like, but that's powerful. Rather than like holding on to it and feeling like, man, I'm alone. I can't do nothing about this. Like, I'm the only one that, no, you're not. You're not the only one that struggle with whatever your struggle is. So, yeah. One more verse, y'all, I think. No, 2 more verses. Well, here you go, y'all. What did I just say? Here it goes. 8:1-8. Acts 1:8. But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you, and you will be workers in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria and to the end of the earth. So there you go, y'all. I mean, again, I can't remember what Mr. Joshua said. Well, I think he said he was in Minnesota. Like, how did me all the way in Georgia, right? Get to meet this man in Minnesota, right? Via virtually, right? How do we do it? And then how am I now praying for this man that's in Minnesota that I've only had a couple of conversations with? Well, because I got out here and started sharing my testimony, y'all. And because he started sharing his testimony, and then now, right, I'm on here sharing, wherever you are, and I know I'm in Australia, because look, shout out to you, and I know I've reached that far, and wherever else, because again, I've talked to so many people from around the world at this point. And that's the thing, yeah. We got the power to touch nations, our community. Yes, I do feel like there's a lot of stuff to do in our own homes, cities, states, communities, and stuff like that too. But yeah, and it just goes out through the world the more we do that. So there's more verses to go and peruse and let marinate on your heart, souls, and minds in the go deeper section regarding this. But if nothing else, I'm just going to reiterate, y'all, testify. Don't be ashamed of the testimony, because there is power in that, and that is the juice. The Bible verse of today is Colossians 3:23. It says, "And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord, and not unto men, knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance, for ye serve the Lord Christ." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. Y'all, I hope that you guys were encouraged and inspired. Thank you all so much for listening and watching. I saw that was about 6 people on here at one point. Lord, to God be the glory. I don't know if I ever had that many people watching in the morning time. But again, yeah, man, there's just so much power in our testimony, and the enemy tries to make us ashamed. Right? It trying to make us feel shame in the things that we struggle with. But nah, man, like I commend Brother Joshua, man, for getting out there and sharing where he is, and not trying to be fake like he's perfect. You know what I'm saying? And same for me, and same for anybody else. At the end of the day, because again, like, if you honest about the struggles, right? If you're honest about the struggles, then when God brings you out, because He gonna bring you out, as long as you keep, trusting in Him and the faith, and putting the faith in Him versus your own idea and mind about how you should handle things, then eventually you'll be able to share the testimony, like, look what God did, y'all, and everything like that. And that's literally all I'm doing these days. And somehow it led me to this gentleman, Mr. Joshua. So I lift him up in prayer. I lift him and his wife and his family up in prayer as they go through this. And yeah, and I hope that you all do too. Be in agreement with me about him and his struggle. Hey, be in agreement about me and my struggle, right? And everything like that. And as I don't know you and your struggles, but hey, y'all friends, if you got some, put them in the comments and whatnot. Let's pray about you and your struggle and stuff like that, because God can use these things. And I think, again, there's power in sharing those things rather than just holding on to it and make it and letting those things eat us up while we're alone and stuff like that. But anyway, if I tell y'all a little bit more details about Saturday, long story short, so me and Alicia, like I said, we went to what's the name of the place out there? The Vibrary. And we went there, we had a good time. We sit there, chit-chatted or whatnot. But I was hungry, y'all, because I didn't really eat all day that day. And I was like, I need to eat some food and not just be talking about, look, the adult lunchable of charcuteries. I like a good charcuterie board. And I didn't get one there. I was like, I'm saving my coins to get me some food. So we went to the pizza place, right? And so we sitting there, we just talking, having a good old time. Getting to know the waitress a little bit. She was really cool, and we're just enjoying each other and just sharing. And I'm just sharing my struggle, and she's sharing her struggle, and we talking and just having a good time. And we get ready to pay for the check, because we need to get ready to go to the public house. And so we get ready to pay for the check, and the waitress tells us that it had been covered. The check was paid for. And then she acknowledged that there was a gentleman that was sitting outside that apparently had paid for our meal. And me and Alicia was shocked, because I didn't even realize that, like, I don't recall even looking in the man's direction. So I'm just like, who in the world, like, and he never said nothing to us. That's the other crazy thing too. Like, other than he had came in, and as he came in, he said, y'all enjoy y'all's evening. And then he left and whatnot. But outside of that, he never came and talked to us. So we never did, like, no getting to know you at all. But this gentleman decided to pay for our meal. So whoever he was, like, God bless him, thank you for doing that. Obviously I don't know who you are and why you did it, but again, thank and praise God for all blessings, y'all. I'll be thankful for things like that. Y'all know where I'm at financially. So, I had a few coins to work with, but to God be the glory for sending somebody to bless your girl, and well, I'll say Alicia too, because I'm going to speak for myself. That was a blessing for me. So thank you. And then we went to the other the public house, which is, like I said, the cigar and piano lounge. And it was nice. The guy was playing the piano and the owner kept coming and talk to us, and he's singing on the mic and all that type of stuff. And it just was a good evening. And it just was a reminder of like how important it is to fellowship with people. Like, I feel like okay, so here's some more honesty for y'all. So on one hand, without getting into like too many details, in regards to Alicia's testimony, one of the things for me is that, okay, I've had couples come on here on GSL and they swear by date night, right? They swear by being intentional with your spouse and going on dates and stuff. And I can't say that I have that in this moment. You know what I mean? I can't say that we have regular date nights or something like that, and everything like that. And so, and again, I spend so much time here at home where I'm like, I want to get out. I want to do more. I want to like explore and have fun and not be, because I think I've developed a habit of being a hermit sometimes. Like I was kind of hermit-ish when I was in Florida. Like I would spend so much time alone in my apartment, which was, again, it was an informative time. I was, cultivating time with God and cultivating my relationship with the Lord and stuff like that. So the Lord used that time. And then honestly, again, I was being like that because again, it costs to leave, the house, and stuff like that. And at some point I was no longer working at Disney. I was, be honest about that, because I think y'all know I used to work there, right? So I was no longer working there at some point. And so, which meant I only had a certain amount of funds to work with and whatnot. So that was another reason why, I stayed in and only left when I needed to and things like that. And so here I am in marriage and I'm kind of in the same place, right? I'm only leaving when I need to and things like that. But this year I've noticed that I've had a lot of fellowship moments. I've had moments to, get with some other ladies and we go out and things like that. And so Alicia and I, we had that was what Saturday was. It was like a moment, and it's kind of awkward because you feel like you're taking yourself on a date, or here we are, two wives, but we're having like, not say take each other out, but kind of, and that's kind of like, people could feel down about that, be like, why do I have to take myself out? You know what I mean? And I could probably nag my husband about that or something like that. But at the end of the day, I have to show patience to my husband, right? Show understanding that, hey, through the week he might be stressed. And so the weekends is his time to, unwind and just try to recoup so we can have something to give to work the next week. And I get that, right? And although, I want to spend this time with my husband, like, I would love to have had that evening with him. But at the end of the day, the Lord saw fit for me to have it with Miss Alicia, and we were able to, communicate and fellowship as wives and everything like that. And so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that. To have a husband that's, I don't nag him, he don't nag me. I was like, hey, I want to, go out and whatnot. And so he was here with our son, and I went out and enjoyed that time. And so, so that's what it was. I mean, that's what it was. And it's a beautiful thing. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for that time. Because again, I could have just been home and just sitting and just watching TV or something, but to actually get out and have that moment with her and saw that God, blessed us in the midst of it. And, hopefully the conversations we had, like, uplifted me to get things out and uplifted her as another wife to get whatever things out. And so, man, there's just power in community. I guess that's where I'm sharing all this. There's power in community. There's power in coming together and stuff. So again, I believe that's one of the important things of church, right? Well, the church building or the church fellowship, right? But then again, it's also important to get out and to testify and to testify. So, all right, y'all, I done talked at least over 30 something minutes at this point. So I thank you all so much for listening and watching. I hope that these things encourage you and inspire you. And yeah, I look forward to talking to y'all tomorrow. Bye bye.